Let's take beautiful breaths together as we do this live training on letting go of control and trusting life's flow. Feel your feet on the ground, and maybe let's roll the shoulders up and back. And then close your eyes if it is safe for you to do so. And become aware that you are on this planet Earth, imagining that under your feet is the globe of the planet. And you feel it. And as you breathe in, consciously imagine taking all that grounding energy up through your body. And exhale down to feel yourself connected to your body, to the earth. Inhale now, feel the energy from the earth rise up through your body. And on the exhale, feel it rise above the crown of your head, like reaching up towards space and the universe. Inhaling, bringing the universe through the crown of your head into your heart. And exhaling into your heart. Take one more deep breath in the here and now. Beautiful. Open your eyes. Welcome. I'm Claudia-Sam. I'm your soul connection coach. And if you're tuning in live on YouTube or in the recording as a podcast of the Be Happy Now show, this is right now what we call one of the monthly live free trainings that I offer when you're part of the Be Happy Now show crew. And today's is all about letting go of control and trusting life's flow, where I will share 3 steps to trust life's flow. And so the first portion of our training is live with you, so you can hear us, you can have the portion of the podcast. And then the second portion is you get to be cozied up with us in a Zoom room so that you can be coached and supported and held in the topic that we are discussing. When I think about letting go of control, one of the things I almost like as a disclaimer that I want to share, and as a human, is that I don't have it all figured out. Okay. I don't have the letting go of control fully. Like I don't have a perfection certificate here. Okay. This is just disclaimer. And I'm laughing too, because I have Gabby Bernstein's Judgment Detox book. And one of the first things that she says in her book, I think I can actually read it. My fingers are trembling as I begin this introduction. I have a limiting belief on repeat. Who are you to write a book called Judgment Detox? You judge all the time. And this is the first line of her book. And I remember it because that kind of breaks any discomfort of feeling like we got it better than someone else just because we're talking about this topic. But it's so not that. One of the things that has me share this with you today is, of course, the client sessions that I have. And this, like, I took notes directly from being on a client call because I was so inspired to share this topic. And life has its way of showing me exactly what I'm about to teach. So, quick story about letting go of control. I decided to do sailing lessons. And why did I want to do sailing lessons? Well, one, I'm in New Zealand and I want to live on the water, and I just love the beach and the waves and the soft waves. And when I see a sailboat, I get really excited because I'm thinking, ooh, I want to lie down on that sailboat and be just guided. I want just to pull on a few strings, and I want someone to be the captain of the boat. Well, before I get to do that, I kind of get to learn how the ropes work and how the wind works and what's the deal with the wind. And well, the first class, between you and me, felt like this was not the right way to teach me. This was not how I wanted to learn it. This doesn't work. I don't understand. And I was recognizing like that my human was so anchored in thinking that she needed to learn something a specific way. I was the last one. We were four in the group, and I was the last one to go on my mini one-person boat because, yes, they send you on a one-person boat on the ocean the first time you've never touched a boat. Great. So I'm on the boat and I don't get it. And so I'm in my head and I'm trying to control the wind. Yeah, that doesn't work. Well, I capsized the boat, or the wind capsized the boat, or the universe had me capsize the boat. And I ended up in the water with a wetsuit, and it's fine. There were no rays or nothing poisonous. We're not in Australia, so we're good, we're safe. But I felt like angry, and I felt like, why didn't this work? I wanted to understand, and I knew why didn't this work? And as soon as I got in the car, I had already written out the letting go of control training. Like I'd already thought about it. I was in the car soaked. And I looked at Pierre Michel, my partner, and I said, life wants me to let go of control. Really? Do I have to learn by capsizing a boat? Okay, fine, I get it. So I was able to kind of step back a little bit and laugh about it now. Actually, I didn't really laugh. No, I didn't really laugh when it was the time. All I wanted to do was cry. I felt like I was a child learning something very uncomfortable for the first time and just wanting to be held by their parents, and I wanted the same, except that was not possible. So life has its ways of showing us, here's what you get to learn. So if you're in the Zoom room and you would like to share with me, because I can see your comments, what is one way that you remember life showing you how it was time for you to let go of control and trust the flow? And sometimes, yes, it can be something medium size, like capsizing a boat, or it can be big as like changing a job or having a divorce or parenting a 2-year-old for the first time. Yes, exactly. That is completely new, right? There's no manual for how to handle your 2-year-old child because it's your child. One of the things that we do in Align, which is one of my coaching growth groups, is that we use A Course in Miracles to help us return to the energy of love. So in instances like when we're losing control, or like when it feels like we're trying to organize everything, or we want to plan everything and things aren't working out like it was meant to, because there are all these external circumstances that happen, we get to remember that we are not just a human trying to hold tight its grip on making things work out a specific way. And what I mean by that, and that will have us go right into the first step of trusting life's flow, is that you are not just the body. You are not just the body. Willow, when you're dating a guy you're into and he breaks up with you because of his insecurities, yeah. Or friendship breakups, Jacqueline, hi. Yes. It's like they're deciding that we're two in this relationship. Don't I have a say? Can I not have a say in this thing? Like, come on, both of us have 100% responsibility in who we are, but we're together in this. We take 50% each in this relationship. I totally get it. Jessica, going on a trip with someone and having multiple things go wrong. Oh yeah. I once lost my passport. Oh, it would have been funny to have the bag here, but I once lost my passport in Paris and found it in the same bag that I traveled for 4 years when I was in Turkey 4 years later. I found it in the same bag. It was hidden behind something. I get it. You are not just the human, but we're living in a human world, in this human experience with like a body. Like if you extend your arms out in front of you and you look at your hands, Like you can touch them, you can sense them, you can see that you have a body. So what do you mean I'm not just the body? I mean that you are a soul in this human body, utilizing the human body as a vehicle for the soul's purpose on this earth. And when that happens, when we forget who we really are, which is that soul, that loving essence, when we forget that that's who we are, then we control. Or when we control, we forget who we are, because we get stuck in, I'm a human, it needs to go this way. My human feels safe to have it all under control. My human feels safe to have structure and be organized. My human feels safe knowing what I have to do and what I don't have to do, and knowing what's right and what's wrong. My human feels safe in that. And in that, we forget who we really are. A Course in Miracles says the ego is the mind's belief that it is completely on its own. The ego is the mind's belief that it is completely on its own. So if we think from an ego perspective, oh my gosh, it's the holidays. Oh my gosh, there's so much happening. I know that during this time I forget myself and I put everyone first, and then it creates anxiety. Or maybe you're thinking it's the new year, I'm still at the same place where I wanted to be, and that creates anxiety and stress. That is the ego thinking that the vision needs to be only one specific way. And because the ego thinks that it's completely on its own, it thinks you can't be helped, you can't be supported, you have to do this on your own. It forgets, by it I mean the ego forgets the soul self. And we work through the 5 layers of the self in the Tune-In program as well. So the first step to recognizing that you get to trust life's flow. So 3 steps to trust life's flow. The first one is recognize that the ego and the soul, like recognize the separation that the human creates between the ego and the soul. Recognize the separation that's like humanely created between the ego and the soul. The soul believes that it's all one, but the human ego is like, nope, I want to be first. I want to win. So that creates tension. It creates contraction. Like even my body language, if you're watching the video, it's like rounding the back, clenching the teeth, making a fist with the hands, bringing the elbows together, frowning. That's like contraction energy. And that is also on the energy frequency scale. We have talked about this. Maybe I can share my screen real quick. If I do have it. Yes, I do. So the energy frequency scale, do you see it? Great, thank you. You see how it's like a V shape? This comes from David Hawkins, Dr. David Hawkins, who wrote the book Power versus Force. And he studies the frequency of energies. And this scale is based on confidence, really, and the zone of connection and disconnection that my team and I have created this visual for you. And you see how the bottom of the V is very contracted. It's like, oh, I'm going towards that guilt and that shame and that fear, like I'm contracting. That's what the ego creates in an energy when we're only there. And so just because I was talking about contraction, so you can see how it lowers the energy of our frequency in itself. Because if trusting life's flow, if we put that in the level of peace and joy at above 500 hertz in its frequency, but we live life in a contracted 20, 50, 100 hertz, we're way off. there is that separation between where we want to live and how we live. I'm going to stop the share now. Not to get too technical. Rather, the first step is to recognize that there is a separation that is kind of naturally created by the human between the soul self and the ego self. And rest assured, if you're like, okay, but how do I even connect with my soul self? Well, you're at the right place because, I'm your soul connection coach and this is what we do together. So this is a great first step. And I'll tell you how you can actually get back on track, because today we're launching the Back on Track bundle. And so I'll tell you how you can get that right after. The second step to trust life's flow is be willing to choose again and choose again and choose again and choose again. What do I mean? If if something happens, like there's a breakup, there's this external circumstance that like throws spaghetti sauce all over your face and you're like, what is happening? Well, you get to choose how you respond to that. I'm sure you've heard that before. But what I'm suggesting here is to choose soul over ego. In other words, choose heart over head. To choose it's easy versus it's hard. To choose we got this, soul, versus I can't. To choose to trust means to recognize that actually the only control you can really count on is the knowing that as a soul, you are so supported because you are love. A Course in Miracles says, love created me as itself. Love created me as itself. So like, if you physically are standing and can take a step back right now, like imagine taking this step back in the knowing that, oh my gosh, I don't have to see things so narrow anymore. When I get into this perception of that I am love, what do I see from here? Do I want to blame and be in anger towards the other people who are throwing spaghetti sauce at me? Do I want to laugh? Do I want to get angry and just be angry with myself? Which is fine, by the way. You get to decide. So number 2, to trust life's flow, is to be willing to choose when situations happen instead of being a victim of it. That is the flow. That is like being a ball that's thrown around. Is that what I really want to say? I can just my body just wants to sway and dance to define flow. Actually, it's almost like if I was in that sailboat and I'm trying to send strings attaching to the edge of the earth from the sailboat because I want to stay afloat. So I have to send out these strings all the way over there so that I can be anchored and, that's in the zone that I'm going to go. That's not really how it works. So be willing to choose soul over ego, which means less fear, more love, less lack, more abundance. That's like raising up in the energy frequency scale, one by one. Today I was in a coaching call and my client said, "Ooh, that feels stretchy to think that I am worthy as I am, like right now, because this isn't something that I'm used to. Like I need this structure to feel really worthy and enough because I kind of have the control with that structure." And so what we did is we used a bridge word. I'm working towards feeling enough as I am, or feeling worthy as I am. So you get to choose. It doesn't mean you're dismissing the actual worthiness. It means you're helping your human get on board with it. So step 1 to trusting life's flow, recognize the ego versus soul kind of separation. And then number 2, be willing to choose soul over ego. And PS, we don't want to live life as a human without ego, otherwise we wouldn't exist. So it's not bad. The ego is not bad. One thing that A Course in Miracles says is that I hold only thoughts that I think with God, universe, love, source. So I hold only thoughts that I share with source. But the ego doesn't hold thoughts with source. The ego thinks thoughts of there's not enough. Watch out for this. Careful. So it's kind of recognizing a little bit that difference and playing with that. Then the step number 3 to trust is creating your own recipe to a consistent soul alignment. What do I mean? Creating your own recipe to a consistent soul alignment. Well, my friend, I'm going to break it to you, but there's no one else like you. There is no one else like you. So if someone likes to go to the gym and they feel so good to lift weights and it energizes them for a whole week, good on them. If you like to sit in silence in meditation and you feel the soul connection right away in 1 minute, and that's enough for your day, good on you. If you want to, you get it? Like you can do the action of a soul alignment practice to get back on track, however that looks like for you. So I'm going to ask you a question now, just to tune in. Take a moment to tune in. What is something that you've been doing just because others around you have been doing that? What is something you've added to your wellness routine just because, well, that's what you do? When I came back from my second yoga teacher training in Nepal, because that's what you did, I practiced yoga 3 hours a day in the morning. And I was really strict on my meditation length and asana length and harmonium length and all of it. That's what you did. So what is it for you? Feel free to write it in the chat. I'd love to know. What is it for you? And maybe it's a little harsh, but we're just going to try it. Okay. I'm imagining myself like pressing on the pedal of a garbage and going, boop, we're dumping that habit in it. Okay. So, it belongs to someone else. Boop, bye-bye. And then we're going to play. So I actually created a Back on Track bundle last year I created the Back on Track bundle to help you realign with what it is that has you feel in alignment, what has you feel connected and on track, because there are so many different resources and tools that you can add in your toolbox. And yet, what is it for you that works for you that you can trust? Paula, morning mojo. Your business does each morning, but I feel more like it later in the day. Yes, perfect. And Paula, Ayurveda might be a really interesting thing for you to check because depending on your constitution, certain times in the day can feel more like that's when you feel like getting going, and Ayurveda will teach that. And for me, it's my cycle. My cycle teaches me when I feel more inclined to doing certain things and when I feel inclined to doing less of them. Yeah, thank you for that. So what we're throwing in the garbage is not the morning mojo per se, but it's the relationship to it. It's the way of being around it being an obligation. We are letting go of it being a have to. And when we're talking about letting it go and trusting life's flow, it's about shifting from that contraction energy down in the pit of the shame and guilt on the energy frequency scale and opening your body language, opening the palm of your hand and rolling your shoulders up and back and letting yourself be fully in a receiving mode of what that can be. And if you feel like you're ready to be in a receiving mode, I have something for you. I created the Back on Track bundle renewed. So this time around, I'm adding 9 new, never released resources. And these are resources so that they're all there to help you tune in. They're not there to tell you this is the one right way. Like, they're all there to help you tune in to you. And in the Back on Track bundle, there's also one Back on Track activation call with me so that you can really know, okay, but where do I start? Like, how do I actually put that in practice? And all of these resources, you have intention setting, you have happiness based on A Course in Miracles. What emotions archetype are you? Releasing worry, releasing overthinking, handling triggers, a guide to a soul-aligned day, creating your sacred space, reviewing your relationship with time. I mean, making meditation a regular practice, flowing out of fight or flight. There's so many beautiful resources there. And so it's valued at over $1,500, and I'm gifting it this week only for $100. So $100 where you get all of these resources, you get to get back on track right now and join me on a Back on Track activation call. And there's a bonus. You get in on the December envisioning session so that you can align your energy with the closing of 2023 and really feel like you're entering 2024 anchored in you and aligned and on track with who you are. So I'm going to quickly share the link for those of you who are on Zoom, if you want to go check it out. Yes. Wow, wow, wow. Right. I'm so excited. Like, I'm almost like shaking of excitement. The coupon code is VISION. Okay. So when you go and you get it, you get the coupon code VISION. And this is $100 US. Just so everyone who's here knows that that's the currency of the website. And I'll put it in the link on YouTube so you podcasters will listen or be able to catch the link in the show notes. It's basically Claudia-Sam soulcoaching.com/back on track bundle. Cool. So we're going to close this episode and continue with our training, our live Q&A, and our on-the-spot coaching. I'm here. If you have any questions, find me on Facebook or on Instagram, friend me, and yeah, let's start a conversation if you want to. I'm here for you. And those of you on the Zoom, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to continue the conversation, and let's just get back on track.